In this video, we're going to have a look at how we solve equations by inspection. So in other words, just looking at the equations and working out an answer. So first of all, what is an equation? Well, it's a number or an algebraic expression that's equal to another number, or even the same number, or some other algebraic expression. For instance, 5 equals 6 minus 1. Well, there's a true equation. Or 3y minus 4 equals 8 is an equation, so we have an expression equal to a number. Or 5k equals 2k plus 7, so an expression equal to another expression. What we're going to focus on is solving equations with a missing number by, as I said, the method of inspection. So that is just looking at them and working out the answer. After a few examples, what you'll find is that you might recognize that there's shortcuts to work out the answer or the missing number. And that's the hope after we do a few of these examples. So let's have a look at some examples. So in primary school, you're probably used to looking at some equations like this. Fill in the missing number, something plus 4 equals 9. Well, we should know that that missing number is 5. So 5 plus 4 is 9. Or another example, something plus 2 equals 3. Well, we know that that missing number is 1. So 1 plus 2 equals 3. Or something plus 7 equals 18. So getting a little bit harder. So something plus 7 equals 18, that would be 11. So that's what we're looking at by solving by inspection. So in primary school, you would have done some things like that. But in high school, we start to do things a little bit different and introduce some algebra. So instead of finding the value of the box, it's find the value of the pronumeral, the letter. So something plus 4 equals 9. So doing the same thing as what we were doing up here, something plus 4 equals 9, something plus 4 equals 9. What is that something? So what is that something? Well, that something was 5 that we worked out a moment ago. And we can take the same approach with these examples over here. So something plus 2 equals 3. What is that something? Well, we just worked out before that that something must be 1. So our m value, our something, was 1. Our k value, our something, was 5. And we'll do another one here. Something plus 7, so v plus 7 equals 18. So what's that something? Well, we worked out before that that something must be 11. So that's how we're looking at solving equations by inspection. So let's now have a look at some examples where I haven't given you the hints beforehand. So, something plus 8 equals 12. Well, we're trying to find out what that something is. In this case, the letter B, the pronumeral B. So, B must equal 4 because 4 plus 8 is 12. And we can check it by putting it back up here. Replace it up here, called substitution. We substitute that B with the 4. 4 plus 8 is 12. Yes, that works. So let's try another one. G plus 10 equals 21. So something plus 10 equals 21. So what is that something? That letter G, the pronumeral G. And we find that it's 11 because 11 plus 10 equals 21. So G equals 11. And our final one here to start off with is J plus 9 equals 9. So something plus 9 equals 9. What is that something? What is that J? What numbers should be there? And it's the number 0. So 0 plus 9 equals 9. So we've just had a look at 3 examples there where we've got addition questions. So let's move on to some examples where there's subtraction. So W minus 4 equals 20. So something minus 4 equals 20. So what is that something? Remember, we're using the pronumeral W. So W minus 4, W minus 4 equals 2. That's something that W must be 6. So 6 minus 4 equals 2. Just be careful with the subtractions because some people will go 4 minus 2 equals 2, and that's not right. We want something minus 4 equals 2. All right? So our next one, Z minus 7 equals 1. So what's that Z equal? So something minus 7 equals 1. That's something, that letter Z must represent 8. And one more subtraction one, R minus 10 equals 20. So something minus 10 equals 20. So what's our value of r? And our value of r ends up being 30, because 30 take away 10 equals 20. So we've just done some subtraction ones there, so let's go on and have a look at some multiplication. So 2 times something is 10, so 2 times a is 10. What's a equal? Well, if we know our times tables, then we should know that a equals 5, because 2 times 5 is 10, so a is 5 there. Let's try another one. 5 times h equals 35. So what's our value of h? What's our missing number there? And again, if we know our times tables, we should know that h is 7. So 5 times 7 is 35. Let's try another one. 3 times something, 3 times d is 36. So what's our value of d? So let's find it out. Again, if we know our times tables, we should find that 3 times 12 gives us 36. So there's some multiplication. Now let's have a look at some division. So something divided by 5 equals 4. So let's be a little bit careful, just like the subtraction ones, we have to be a little bit careful. We're not saying 5 divided by 4, we're saying something, some number divided by 5, so equals 4. So how many 5s in this number go 4 times? Well, a little bit hard, you've got to think a little bit more this time. So what's our missing number here? And it ends up being 20. So again, with division, we need to make sure we know our times tables, because 20 divided by 5 is 4. Let's try another one. S divided by 2 equals 7. Now I've got the S here. I don't normally use S because sometimes it gets confused with a 5, but I think it's pretty clear here that it's an S. So some number divided by 2 equals 7. So what's that missing number? And we find that 14. 14 divided by 2 equals 7. And one more. P divided by 9 equals 6. So what number divided by 9 equals 6? Let's find that number out. Again, we need to know our times tables, and we find that that missing number is 54. So P is 54 because 54 divided by 9 equals 6. So you may have realized some shortcuts as we was working through those examples, and we'll talk about more of those in another video. But if you can see the shortcuts, then when you get to questions like these, it ends up being fairly simple to work out. So some number plus 27 equals 182. Not so easy to see straight away, but if you know the shortcuts, you can find out your A value. Something minus 81 equals 54. Again, if you know your shortcuts, you can work that out pretty quickly. And 3 times something is 102. Something divided by 15 equals 17. So if we recognized our shortcuts as we were working through there, you would have found that this number that you add 27 to is 157. 157 plus 27 gives us our 182. This number minus 81 equals 54. And that number there is 135. So 135 minus 81 is 54. Again, this probably isn't one that you can see straight away, but if you know the shortcuts that we'll talk about later, and you'll see those. So 3 times 34 is 102. So our C value is actually replaced with the 34 to make that true. Excuse me. And our last one, D divided by 15 equals 17. So our missing number there is 255, because 255 divided by 15 is 17. Again, not so easy to see straight away, but if you know our shortcuts, as I said, we'll learn about soon, you'll be able to see those or work those out pretty quickly. So I hope you found that useful just by our inspections. And in my next video, I'll have a look at equivalent equations and what we can do with equations to help solve them. So thanks for watching, and I hope you got something out of it.